Hello and welcome to An Entrepreneur and You, in Territory and Petron series on entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Mike Kaysen. We're here today with Charlie Shih. Charlie is a full-time business faculty member at Diablo Valley College. We're going to be talking to Charlie a little bit about life and entrepreneurship. So, Charlie, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, Charlie, why don't you tell me a little bit about what it is that you teach?
So I've been a full-time professor of business administration at DVC since 2002. The classes I usually teach include small business management, entrepreneurship, introduction to e-commerce, social media marketing, business statistics, introduction to business, international business, and sometimes investments.
I'm glad you introduced yourself because I would never be able to remember that. You are a busy man.
I know.
You want to tell us a little bit about your educational background and how you got started?
I think I'm a bit overeducated. I have three different degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in bioengineering. I have a master's degree in educational psychology, which comes in really handy in teaching. I also have a master's of business administration, also known as MBA, from UC Berkeley's High School of Business.
Wow. You want to tell us a little bit about your background before you decided to start teaching?
So before I started teaching, I worked in the corporate world for 10 plus years, including as a international market researcher, management consultant. I was also a banker in San Francisco's financial district, and then I worked as a dot-commer in Silicon Valley.
What was your favorite out of all of them?
It's hard to pick one. I have to say, maybe as a dot-commer, just because it was very exciting, very new. We were one of the first wave of dot-coms that were ever created on Earth.
So, where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in Shanghai, China.
And what brought you out here?
I came out to the States as a high school exchange student. I was actually among the first group of Chinese students ever to be in the US. The program called ASSIST, American Secondary Schools for International Students and Teachers. I went to a school called North Shore Country Day in the suburb of Chicago. I stayed with a host family. It was a wonderful year.
It sounds amazing. And from your experience as a foreign exchange student, basically, you decided to stay.
I actually went home after I finished the exchange program, and then I came back, applied for university in Chicago. So definitely wanted to come back, but had to satisfy the requirement for exchange program by going back to China first.
How many languages do you speak?
So I'm fluent in English and in Mandarin, Shanghai dialect. I can read and write Chinese. I also have working knowledge of German and Japanese.
Wow. Do you find that having so many grasps of so many different languages helps you in business?
Absolutely. It allows me to really appreciate other cultures and get to know people in other business environments. It's also exciting as it allows me to live and work in some of the most dynamic international locations, for instance, in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney, Australia, and maybe in San Francisco.
What advice would you give to business students?
The advice I have for business students is just definitely broaden your horizon, get out of your comfort zone. Don't just care about business only. Take a look at what new technology are being developed, what new cultural and trends they are, and try to infuse business hopefully into something that you love and make money off it.
That's the dream, right?
Yes.
When you do something you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
And get paid for it. Yes.
Yeah. Did you always know that you were going to be an entrepreneur?
Actually, no. I wanted to be a medical doctor. That's why my bachelor's degree was in biomedical engineering. But the minute I took the anatomy class, that was the end of it.
When did you decide to kind of make that switch from medicine to business?
Yeah, so what's interesting is as a biomedical engineer, you also have to take classes in engineering. So I ended up taking a lot of classes in electrical engineering and computer science, and I got a technical internship working for the Gallup organization, which is a market research and polling firm. Through doing internship for Gallup, I got to know the business side of it, and that became a lot more interesting.
What advice would you give to people from other countries who come to the US who want to pursue entrepreneurship?
My biggest advice is really get to know the locals. Don't stay only with people that speak your language and know your culture. And that way you can be assimilated into American culture as much as possible. That doesn't mean you have to hide your own identity. You can share your background with people over here. And for instance, when I talked to my Chinese students, I said, yes, you can speak Mandarin to me, but I also would prefer for you to learn a lot in English and get to know somebody from California, and you'll learn faster that way in terms of English.
What do you find to be a successful teaching technique for international students?
I actually find case analysis using videos to be quite effective because it's visual. And a lot of the YouTube videos, or let's say CBS 60 Minutes videos, they have caption or subtitles, which makes it easy for somebody whom English is not their native language.
That's great. I'll have to incorporate that into my classes.
I'll be happy to share any resources I have.
How'd you get into teaching?
I got into teaching because of one of my former classmates at Haas started teaching himself at Foothill College and was trying to convince me to go into teaching myself. Did some research and was also at a place in my career that I want to be able to give back to the community, especially to international students, immigrants, people who are disadvantaged. I feel I was in their position when I first arrived in the US. And this country really gave me tremendous opportunity, allow me to be successful both professionally and personally. And I want to give that same opportunity to other folks, people who make America truly great.
And how long have you taught at DVC?
I started teaching at DVC in 2002, so it's almost 18 years, hard to believe.
So what do you like most about teaching?
What I love most about teaching is you can see when somebody truly gets a sort of like a light bulb going off in their head, and also just watch students grow. I am also one of the co-advisors of DVC PBL Business Club. We've actually formed a very tight-knit relationship with these students, and they come back after they transfer to a four-year university or after they have gone off to the professional world. And we follow them on Facebook. They bring their partners back. They've gotten married. They've had children. So it's great to see how they develop into wonderful human beings and successful in their career and in their personal life.
I know for myself, I'm a DVC alum, and DVC changed the trajectory of my life in a lot of ways.
Definitely. And it's alums like you that truly motivate us to continue to teach every day.
Everyone appreciates how much work you do, because I know not only are you a teacher, but you also run the entrepreneurship program and you do a ton of other stuff. So do you want to talk a little bit about the entrepreneurship program?
Definitely. To tell you a little bit about the entrepreneurship program at DVC, we actually have a multi-year strong workforce grant that we're using to help develop new curriculum, infuse entrepreneurship into other departments and divisions and other programs on campus. We also want to incorporate, we call it experiential learning, basically internships, going on field trips, visit entrepreneurs, bring them to campus, have them give us workshops, have students do Shark Tank-like pitch competition. Another track we have in the entrepreneurship grant is called Diablo Tech Initiative, which is trying to build this part of the Far East Bay into an area where techies and other well-qualified individuals can stay and work rather than commuting to Silicon Valley and San Francisco.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. With my law firm, we have a lot of people coming in talking about developing new types of technology, new business, all here in the East Bay, but then they find that they have to end up in San Jose or San Francisco to actually get anything implemented. So becoming the hub of East Bay entrepreneurship, I think, is an ideal thing. What do you predict the market will be like for entrepreneurs in the future?
I think entrepreneurship will become increasingly important skill sets as our economy is going more towards the gig economy. people becoming more in terms of independent contractors rather than working for the same company as a full-time employee for decades. Therefore, everybody needs to learn how to be independent, how to have creative new ideas and new business models, how to compete with other really dynamic economies, such as those in China, in Europe, and in Latin America. So I think entrepreneurship is a really great way to achieve that.
That's wonderful. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much, Charlie. This has been a very innovative and fun conversation. I really appreciate your time and everything that you do for the DVC community.
My pleasure.
Thank you all for joining us here at Entrepreneur and You. We'll see you next time.